Hi there. Welcome back to the Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We've got ourselves a little puzzle to unravel from where we left off last time. Point out the telling signs of the method that was used to slide the cabin door across from the outside. See, I don't know what how or what he's referring. Well, I don't know what I'm really pointing out. If they're wanting to find out how or where she opened the door from the outside when there was no way to open the door from the outside because there's no gaps or anything, I don't see how we're going to find the answer to that from inside the cabin. Well, no, it was asking me because we saw. Yeah, we did see that before. When we came here before, the cabin was. Yeah, it got bolted even without us after we left. And then we came back and it was bolted somehow. As I recall. So I wanted to figure out how that happened here and how that could have happened in Cosmo's cabin. Okay, fair enough. But also, I don't know. Like, I don't see anything in here of particular interest. I don't think it's a ventilator grill. Wait. Didn't Cesaro ring the bell cord at one point and it didn't amount to anything? Because the whole point of the bell cord is you pull it and then the crew would hear it and they would come and open it, right? Wait, does the crew have a way to unlock the door if it's been bolted shut though? I don't think there's like keys. It's not like a key system. Like, the only reason that they got him before was because the big dude broke the door down, basically, so, but, I don't know. I don't know the answer, so I'm just gonna try the bell cord. That seems plausible?
Yes!
This is it! This shows how it was done. Certainly shows how something was done, I concur. In fact, it's an excellent way to show how easy it is to jump to the wrong conclusion. Bro, you do not get to judge me, man, when it comes to jumping to the wrong conclusion. But a truly dismal way to show how the bolt could be made to slide shut from the outside of the cabin. If you're really going to say truly dismal, surely it can't really be possible to make the bolt slide shut without touching it at all, can it? I'm sure that it is. Something in the back of my mind tells me so. Do you really know what Mr. Sholmes means, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes, and so should you, because we've seen it happen. Yeah. Yeah, we saw it before with this cabin, but I don't know where, or how, or what. And it's not like it's a matter of presenting something, it's just clicking on the right area. I can't move the camera over here. So, somewhere hereabouts. You know, let's just check the bolt itself, maybe.
Yes!
Maybe? No. God damn it. God fucking... Again, people said this game is easy. And maybe I'm just big dum-dum, but it's not... It is giving me some trouble. Slide the cabin door bolt across from the outside. I don't know. Like, there's what? There's nothing to even point at. There's bed. There's wardrobe. There's suitcase number 2. There's this case. There's... Maybe it was the cat? Because my guess is maybe the cat was involved in some way in closing the door from the outside. But it's not like I can point out the cat, because the cat's not even here. So maybe the traveling case? Wow. Dumb, bad, poo-poo, stinky. Sadly, Mr. Naruhodo, despite being all about trifles, great deduction is no trifling matter. There is no place for guesswork. Ugh. Sorry. I'm afraid you have developed a shocking habit for it, and it is quite destructive to the logical faculty. Reasoning is not, and there are only so many times you can erase your work. In other words, I need to think everything through again from the start. Don't lose heart, Naruhodo-san. I believe in you. Those eyes of yours won't let you down. I'm sure they'll help you find the truth in the end. Right. I need to put trust in my own observational skills. The key to this is the discrepancy... Oh. Are we going to do all this shit again? Okay, okay, well, I don't want to go to that dialogue again. I'm just gonna reload from where we left off last time. Okay, so if you do lose all your carts, or it's not carts, I've been playing too much Monster Hunter. If you lose all your health, basically, it doesn't, like, kick you out. Because I guess we're not in court, so it's like, what would be the fail condition, you know? Okay, you know what, I'm just gonna point to something that's next to the door. Maybe that's what the problem? Oh, God. I don't know, man. I legitimately don't know. There's nothing in here that says this door, like, there's nothing to close and open a door with. And I already checked. I can't get a closer look at something, so... Oh. Okay, I'm just gonna click random shit and see where that gets us. I know Herlock said guesswork is not good for reasoning, but fuck it, man. I'm out of ideas. This is the door handle. The handle of the door, maybe.
Yes.
No, it's not. It's not. Oh, God. Man, I am being just fucking thrown for a loop. My goodness. I know this is not exactly the most compelling of gameplay, but... Okay, the books. They mentioned the books being out of sorts, even for no good reason, so maybe it's the books. Oh! It is a bookcase. Okay. Now, I mean, again, they did put a special focus on the fact that the books were all, you know, had all fallen in the exact same way. But that's pretty obscure. It seems a little obscure to me. Like, come on. Look at the bookcase there. See how all the books and things on it have toppled over? That must have happened when the ship made its emergency stop before. Yes, that's right. It's a very powerful vessel after all. When the engines are thrown into reverse, a violent jolt goes across the entire ship. Any small objects that aren't fastened down are bound to fall over. I believe, yes, it's what's known as the force of inertia acting on the objects. Is there nothing Susato-san doesn't know? Or that isn't in her book, at least? Yeah, she's well read, you know? Maybe we should try reading a book sometime, Naruhodo-san. Well, whatever it's called, the same force that pushed over those books on the bookcase also made something else in this cabin move. Oh! Oh! It's the sudden stop is what made the bolt move, which means... Was there a sudden stop last night as well? I don't remember. Bro, for a case that's literally taking place in like 3 fucking rooms, there's a lot to keep in mind. The bolt on the cabin door. Ah! It was very obvious, just after the emergency stop that the ship made earlier. Yeah, I know, the game did point it out, and like, I made note of it, but I didn't expect it Like, they don't look related. Unless you were thinking about inertia or whatever. Like, come on. We had come into this cabin not long before, and we hadn't bolted the door. But then, yeah, after we got knocked out, then, yeah, the door was bolted. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We see. We read this before. Oh, yes. That's it. When the ship stopped suddenly, the bolt flew across and locked the door. Yes, it's made of metal, but it's small and light enough to be moved by the ship's sudden change of speed. Or the force of inertia, if you want to call it that. Are you trying to say that last night, after Mr. Osaki was killed... Huh. The SS Bureau made another emergency stop? Yeah, shouldn't we be able to confirm that with the captain? When I woke up this morning and looked around the cabin, I thought it looked a little odd. All the books on the shelves had toppled over, and all the ornaments. It was almost as if someone had run their hand across the shelves and deliberately knocked everything over. Oh yes, I remember that. And I stood them all up again, didn't I? Then when we came into this cabin, we were surprised to see the same thing in here. I know, I noticed it too, but I did not put two and two together. All the books and everything had toppled over, just like in Mr. Asagi's cabin. Oh my! Do you have anything to say about this, Miss Pavlova? Yeah, shouldn't there be, like, evidence, though? Or, like, a record of if the ship made a sudden stop in the middle of the night? Are you out of your mind? You say Bureau made an emergency stop. It does seem a little far-fetched. How could that possibly have happened? Unless you're saying that the culprit is actually someone from the engine room. Oh, it is simple enough. Are you forgetting the button in the passageway outside? Used to trigger the emergency alarm. Oh yeah, there was a button in the yeah. Oh yes, of course. There was a notice, wasn't there? Telling you only to press the button in times of emergency. On dark nights, when the fog is dense, the captain cannot be afforded to rely on the eyes of his lookout alone. Hence the placement of a number of buttons around the vessel to allow any crewman to raise the alarm. The sort of button one is almost compelled to press to satisfy one's curiosity. Wait, it was you? When the button is pressed, two things happen in the interest of safety. The emergency alarm bell rings, and the vessel comes to a complete stop. As indeed it did a little earlier today. Jeez, some weird noises outside. I thought it was in the game, but no, it was not. Man, so Herlock was the one who called the false alarm earlier today? It's pretty mischievous. Mr. Sholmes, surely it wasn't you who... As I always say, a button has but one purpose in life. To be pressed, whatever the occasion. He sounds most proud of himself. How dare you mess with sheep? I report you to Captain. You are in much trouble now. Now, I'm sure all that can wait until later. Let us not overlook the fact that we have now learned a valuable lesson. When the vessel makes an emergency stop, the bolts on the cabin doors slide closed. So, what we must now consider... Yes, it all comes down to one thing now. Last night, after what happened to Mr. Asogi, did the ship make an emergency stop, or did it not? You are idiots. Buria is a huge ship with many passengers. If we make an emergency stop, even in the middle of night, there would be chaos everywhere. What are your thoughts, Mr. Naruhodo? Well, it's certainly possible that some kind of emergency happened last night. We have evidence to support that idea. Really? What evidence, Mr. Naruhodo? Fascinating. Do show us, my good man. What evidence promotes the theory that some emergency gripped this vessel last night? Now that I do recall. The ship log, there's no report from 2 a.m. onward, which would imply something happened.
Yes!
See, that's a clear line of logic I can follow. Seaman Stroganoff, it's your duty to patrol the first-class area of the ship. Isn't that right? Da, that is correct. Why? And the ship's log here. This would be where you record the details of your duties. What are you doing with that? That is mine! Ah, you rather carelessly left at the top the little makeshift bureau in the passageway out there. But as responsible passengers, we took it into our care with our mind to return it to you later. I left it there on purpose. That is where I put it, always. The point is, looking at what you usually record, it's clear that under normal circumstances you write the phrase, "nothing to report" every 30 minutes. But from 2 o'clock last night until first light this morning, nothing was recorded at all. Nothing recorded in the log? That is... because nothing happened. But if nothing happened, you would normally write, "nothing to report," wouldn't you? Indeed so, which tells us that shortly after 2 a.m., something happened here aboard the SS Bureau. Something sufficiently significant to make you forget to fill in the ship's log, in fact. Are you suggesting the ship really did make an emergency stop in the middle of the night? Stop talking rubbish! If I'm perfectly honest, I find that a little hard to believe myself. Oh? Well, why is that, Inspector? Well, because if something as major as an emergency stop really had happened, surely all of us would have noticed. That's very true. That's very true. Thanks to the emergency stop we experienced earlier, we all know what it feels like now. The ship lurched so violently, and the alarm bell was so loud. I can't imagine that anybody would sleep through that, even if it happened in the dead of night. Well, no, that's a good point, I guess. What of the throbbing? Oh yeah, the throbbing. Sorry, what do you mean? Your head, man. The throbbing of your head since this morning. We have all suffered with it. Ah. Oh, yes, I have had a headache, you're right. In fact, I haven't been feeling myself since I woke up today. Nor have I. My head has been feeling heavy ever since dawn. Yes, you've all been afflicted, haven't you? Just as I suspected. He's right. My head's been throbbing today, too. Yeah, what the hell is that about? They keep bringing that up. That's curious. And since eating dinner yesterday evening, everything felt sort of hazy. I can't really remember anything that happened after I climbed back inside the wardrobe. That's weird. Then, the first thing I noticed this morning was a throbbing pain in my head. I had already been dragged out to the wardrobe, and had those handcuffs put on me by that point. Why didn't I wake up when all that was happening to me? That's a good damn question. Tell me, Mr. Naruhodo, you boarded this vessel as a stowaway, didn't you? Oh, well, yeah, sorry about that. The stowaway class of accommodation doesn't usually include meals. What did you survive on? Ah, well, Cosmo looked after me. He was always happy to share his meals. So, you enjoyed some of the whole roast chicken dish that was served yesterday evening, I take it? Yes, in fact. I had all of that. Cosmo wasn't fond of chicken. Oh, really? So the victim didn't eat... Sorry. So the victim didn't eat any of the chicken at all. That's right. He didn't touch it. Is that relevant? My dear fellow, does that not strike you? Oh! Mr. Sholmes, do you mean to say there was something wrong with the chicken? I do. No! Really? Is that really true? The meal prepared for the passengers last night had been tampered with. Tampered with by the addition of a soporific designed to induce a very deep slumber in those who consumed it. A sleeping drug. Do you mean whoever did this laced every meal with a sleeping drug so that no one would notice the ship's emergency stop? Mr. Naruhodo! Of course that's not what Mr. Sholmes means. What a far-fetched idea. Oh, look at that, a 12-month PlayStation Plus subscription. Sick. Precisely. Lacing every meal of every passenger on board with a soporific drug would certainly be impossible. Unless, that is, every single member of the crew was a conspirator. What? Mr. Sholmes? Well, Seaman? I'm sorry to say that any more deception in this matter will get you nowhere. If you would refuse to dock, there would have to be an inquiry made to the shipping company, of course. And, were that to happen, every member of the crew, and the captain himself, would be hauled over the coals. For aiding and abetting a renegade. What do you gotta say about that, Stroganoff? Please, no more. I will tell everything. I cannot make problems like this for everyone anymore. These crewmen are your former comrades, I believe. Yes, so when I decided to run away, I asked them to help me. We all agreed to help. Everyone together. She threw away everything. Her fame in the ballet. Mother Russia. We wanted to help our angel. I don't believe it. You are right. We put sleeping drug in chicken last night. Yes, I remember now. I did notice chewing on a lump of something strange and bitter at one point. And we could not make all drug, how do you say, dissolve. Talk about heavy seasoning, am I right? At midnight, in waters near Shanghai, we brought our angel on board. She was helped by comrades on shore with small fishing boat. While all the passengers of the SS Biora slept soundly, thanks to the almost magical effects of the slumber-inducing potion their evening meals had contained. So, if that's what happened, the only people awake on the ship last night were the crew, people who dislike chicken, and the newly boarded passenger, Miss Pavlova. And that means it would have been possible for you. You could have used the emergency stop trick to lock Cosmo's cabin door. But how does that make sense? Surely every cabin door would have ended up locked in that case, And there would have been complete chaos. Oh, I wouldn't say so. What? Ah, of course. Just like us, all the other passengers would have eaten their evening meal of chicken in their cabins, after which they would have been overwhelmed by tiredness because of the sleeping drug. Quite. And accordingly, all passengers were already in their cabins for the night. Yes. The overwhelming majority of passengers would habitually sleep with their cabin doors bolted anyway, and so not one of them would have found it remarkable to find the door locked in the morning. In summary, in order to fasten the bolt of a single cabin door on the ship, the culprit brought the entire vessel to emergency stop in the early hours of the morning. Oh, jeez. That's pretty heavy stuff. You have talked a long time and said many things. What is point? The point is what I said earlier. There was somebody else present on the scene when the victim lost his life last night. Someone who left a message in Russian on the floor in an attempt to incriminate another. Someone who tried desperately to hide the broken fragments of glass that would reveal the culprit's identity. And did a poor job of it, I might add. And someone who abused the ship's emergency stop procedure in order to lock a door. All told, a busy night. But... I don't know about any of this. I am just a little girl. You like to speak with your long English words and explain your clever ideas. But I am sailor, and sailors don't listen to long, boring stories. We don't believe. Sailors like me, we trust only what we see with our eyes. A laudable trait. What? I am quite the same disposition, my good man. Observation, to me, is everything. Mr. Naruhodo. Oh, yes? Do you hear it? That accusatory cry of guilt on the wind. What accusatory cry of guilt? Sorry, you've lost me. Proof of involvement, man. But you can't hear such a call with your ears. No, you must hear it with your eyes, for observation is the basis of all deduction. What are you talking about? I believe the time has come for one final logic and reasoning spectacular to expose the truth. Oh, we're doing another one, I guess. So, Mr. Naruhodo, your assistance, if you please. With, what exactly, Mr. Sholmes? With observation, my dear fellow, just as I said, of these two prevaricators. Observation? If you remember, Mr. Naruhodo, we know that somebody tried to fabricate evidence, don't we? By tampering with the scene of Mr. Asogi's death. What we're looking for is some trace of evidence that one of these two was there when it happened. Precisely. You are delightfully quick to grasp my meaning. Alright, I'll see what I can see. So we're looking for a trace of evidence that shows someone else was there last night when Kazuma died. I don't know, bro. Oh, hey, look at that. That's curious. Look at his chunky arms. He has arms like tree trunks, doesn't he? Hairy tree trunks. Yes, he certainly has sailor's arms. He's a bored man of the sea. Even if I had been awake, I couldn't have done anything about being dragged out of that wardrobe by this man. Naruhodo-san, are you alright? You seem to be lost in thought. Oh, sorry. Blowing those hairy tree trunks. Jeez. Big ear. Anyway, I was just curious about the chunky arms. And I'm pretty sure we already looked at her ears before, so don't need to do that again. Ink stain now, that's curious. Oh, look at this. It's some kind of stain in an unusual place. Yes, you're right. It looks like ink, if I'm not mistaken. Ink. Look at the color, too. It's clear where this came from. Yeah, see, I got two eyes. I can see shit.
Yes!
Seaman Stroganoff. You seem to have quite a large purple stain on the back of your, white uniform there. Eh? Ah, yes, I don't know where the dirt comes from. So, nothing in particular comes to mind about the stain. What are you trying to say? It would appear that the significance of this stain has escaped your attention, Seaman. Allow us to make it plain. It's a very large purple stain on the back of Seaman Stroganoff's uniform, and I think what made it is clear. Indeed it is. So, Mr. Naruhodo, present the evidence that proves it. My pleasure. Alright then. The evidence that proves what that stain on the back of Seaman Stroganoff's uniform really is... It's gotta be the ink, yes. Right? Yes, it's this photograph, and the ink it shows. That's what caused the stain on your uniform. Ink. A rather unusual color of ink. Purple. Ah! Ah, haha. The penny drops. At last. Now you see the significance. The Russian word on the floor next to the victim's body was written in purple ink. The stain on the back of your uniform is ink of exactly the same color. If the ink had been dry, it couldn't possibly have stained your uniform in that way. Which means you must have been present in the cabin in the moments immediately after the ink was spilt. Alright, yes. It was me. I did it. Everything. I arranged everything in Deadstone's cabin to make it look like Wardrobe Man did it. Then I pressed button to make Bioria do emergency stop and bolt cabin door shut. I did everything so no one would suspect our angel. Biff, please. Don't worry, Angel. Let me do talking. It was after 1 in the morning. I was on duty, patrolling passageway. Then our angel came to me. She was white like sheet. Biff, please, you must help me. I went with her. The door to cabin number 1 was open. When I looked inside, I saw Student Boy on floor. What happened? Please, don't tell anyone. My little one, my little furry friend. Everything that happened in cabin is like Angel told you. The kitten escaped through the ventilator into Mr. Sogi's cabin. Then he tripped over it and broke his neck when he fell to the floor. Oh, so that part was true. It was just the details that were not true. Man, you see, you tripped over a cat and died. Like, that's still a weird way to fucking go. Yes, that is right. So, after the incident when the cat ran away, Miss Pavlova then visited the cabin next to hers, only to find its occupant lying lifeless on the floor. She said she was worried when she heard sound of something falling on floor. That's when she went to look. No, Angel? The door was not locked. So she opened to look, and you already know what happened after. There's just one thing, if you wouldn't mind. What? When you went to Mr. Asogi's cabin, Miss Pavlova, was he already dead? Why? I already told you. When Nina opened the door of student's cabin and looked inside, I was asking Miss Pavlova. Good. Well, Miss Pavlova? Yeah, Russian, Oh. Yes, that is right. I saw him. It was dark, and he was wearing black, but he was on the floor, not moving. I was scared. I understand, and I believe you. So is that finally it now? Have we discovered the real truth about Kazuma's death at last? Ah, something very nearly slipped my mind. Oh, Mr. Sholmes, what else could there possibly be, man? This photograph. Yes, I took this myself, you know. You know. The cause of death was a broken neck. Therefore, the victim died instantly. And the unfortunate incident that precipitated these events, a kitten on which the victim stumbled. However, if those are the facts, there is one particular area in this photograph that seems to me somewhat unnatural. What do you mean, unnatural? What are your thoughts on the matter, Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, well... If Kazuma tripped and fell, and by some terrible stroke of bad luck broke his neck, which part of this photographic print seems unnatural? Yeah, it would have to be his position, right? Because, like I mentioned before, but if you fell and broke your neck, that would presume you fell, like, on your back. Like, if you fell forward, like, I guess it's not totally out of the realm of possibility that you could, like, break your neck, but you must be falling on, like, your face and your chest. That would be breaking your fall more than your neck. Like, you would have to, like, again, fall backwards and hit your neck at a weird angle, you know? So, I don't know, his body? Is his body something I can present?
Yes!
It must be here, surely. Allow me to offer you a piece of advice regarding the pursuit of detection, my dear fellow. When noting a crucial point, it can be helpful to keep your eyes open. Oh, like, I didn't think of that. They were open. And it can be equally helpful to use them. Sorry, I'll try that. I think it's plain what Mr. Sholmes means by a natural, isn't it? The word written in a foreign language underneath his fingertips, surely. That particularly crass detail was orchestrated by the culprit. Oh, no, well, sorry. That particularly crass detail was orchestrated by the culprit. No, I mean to identify another point. Imagine, if you will, losing your footing yourself. Would you land as the victim has? What of your hands? Oh. You look like the sort of fellow who stumbles with some regularity. This should be an easy task. Why do I? Come on, man. Okay, so I was right about his position being the problem, but, like, yeah, I just can't, his whole body can't be, like, there has to be something specific. And it has to be the fist, right? Because if you did fall like that, you would naturally try to break your fall. Like, the fact that his hand is in a closed fist, that's pretty weird. So, that better be it, right? Alright. If he really fell due to an unfortunate accident, then this fist just doesn't seem quite right. The exact same thought occurred to me. In a fall, one's instinct is to open the palms flat. Yet here we see the victim with his left hand tightly balled into a fist. Almost, you might say. As though he were gripping something. What do you mean? Simply that I took the liberty of investigating the victim's fist a short while ago. You did? And what, pray tell, do you imagine I found there, my dear fellow? Mr. Sholmes, show us, please. Why, of course, my dear madam. Would I keep you in suspense? Huh. That looks familiar. This is what I found. Oh, a crescent moon with a little gemstone in the middle. Yes, you're right, a crescent moon. It's very pretty, but what does it tell us? It tells us nothing. I'm not so sure. That crescent moon looks familiar somehow. I'm sure I've seen it somewhere before. Observation, Mr. Naruhodo. That is the key. What? The truth is now tantalizingly close. How did that crescent moon come to be in Kazuma's clenched fist? This is the final clue, the last piece of the puzzle. Ask yourself, what does this little crescent moon mean? What significance has it? And observe. Find the answer with your own eyes. It's gotta be her right ear. Mercy, I knew her ears would come into play at some point. Because, yeah. Ear. It's missing an earring. So, can I fucking present it? Okay, there we go.
Yes!
It's gotta be the ear. Miss Pavlova, I noticed that on your ear, even though you have a metal earring, the decorative part of it seems to be missing. The little link holding it on must have broken, I suppose. Eh? What? But looking at your other ear, I noticed a crescent moon. Ah! I don't believe it! Now, the missing crescent moon was found in the victim's clenched fist. Clearly, there is only one logical conclusion. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes. Miss Pavlova, Mr. Osagi must have grasped that crescent moon and pulled it from your ear. Perhaps just moments before he fell to the floor. In other words, last night, in Mr. Osagi's cabin, you witnessed the moment when the victim fell with your own eyes. In fact, you were quite literally at arm's length from him. But then the question is, why did Mr. Osagi do that? Why did he pull your earring from your ear and hold it in his clenched fist during his final moments? Oh no. Angel? No one can protect you now. Please, Miss Pavlova, tell us the truth. Last night, what did you do to Kuzuma? Oh. When I think about everything that happened yesterday, it was too much. Running away, the fishing boat in the middle of the night, trying to climb onto this huge ship, and then when I was at last in this cabin and I could relax after this horrible long day. Yeah, the cat. Dorka, wait! I couldn't believe it when she disappeared through the ventilator. I tried to call her with a little whistle. I tried waving her favorite toy, but nothing worked. Dorka would not come back. Knock, knock. Clonk. Well, is that Kazuma? Well, what are you doing here at this time of night, Inspector? Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was a friend of mine. Oh, yeah, I guess you were his bodyguard. The young man from your country. He was very polite and kind. He helped me to find Darka, and he promised not to tell anyone. But then, when I had my friend in my arms again, and I was going to leave the man's cabin... Just a moment. Sorry, but... Oh, yes? I'm sure I know your face. I've seen you somewhere before. Of course. You're Nikolina Pavlova, aren't you? The Russian ballerina. Huh? No. I don't know that name. My heart nearly stopped when he said that. He knew who I was. How could this man from a land in the faraway East know a Russian ballerina? You know, if you were just dressed up in your old man disguise, you probably could have avoided this whole situation. Just saying. Yes, I saw your performance in Japan. The beauty of the ballet made a deep impression on me. But what are you doing on this ship? I'm sure I read that your ballet company was performing in Shanghai at the moment. I can't fool him. I have to tell him the truth and hope he doesn't tell anyone. I have no other choice. I see. So you've run away. Please keep my secret. Don't tell anyone. Give me a moment. I could use another opinion here. He's going to pull that cord. He's going to tell the captain. Wait, I thought the whole crew was aware of what you were doing. Yeah, I thought they said like the whole crew was in on it. Why did I think I could trust him? Then it happened. Everything at once. It was only a second, but it felt like forever. Wait, I shouted. And then... Oh. Darka jumped out of my arms. Oh, sorry. Darka jumped out of my arms and down to the young man's feet. And... as he turned around to look at me... Oh. I pushed him. I don't even know why. I don't know why I did it. I was just so scared. And I had to stop him from telling anyone about me. Again, I kind of thought... I thought the crew was in on your, on what you were doing. And that's when you went to fetch help. From Seaman Stroganoff, who was on duty out in the passageway. I heard Nina cry out, and blood on floor, so I ran to her. She was standing at cabin door, shaking like a leaf. She looked at me and said, "Help me, Biff. If they find out, I will be... please, I have nowhere to go." So you decided to help. And that's when you arranged things in Kazuma's cabin to make it look like I did it, so that no one would suspect the passenger in the cabin next door. Yes. I went into cabin and I looked around to make sure there was nothing to show Nina was there. And then I found stowaway in wardrobe, still sleeping. Right. That's when he found me. So you worked out a plan to lay the blame on the stowaway. I closed wardrobe doors and put back storage paper side. Luckily for me, that's the only reason Cesaro-san started to believe me when I said I was innocent. I dragged young man's body to a good place and used ink that was spilling to write on floor. I wrote that so that person who found him would look inside wardrobe and find stowaway. And tell me, what is the glass bell? It was by my feet. So I picked it up. I see. but it was dark in the cabin. I didn't notice the other half. Then Angel went back to her cabin, and I finished job by pressing the emergency alarm button in the passageway. Yes. Accordingly, the SS Bureau did indeed come to an emergency halt at a little after 2 a.m., thus enticing the bolt on the cabin door to slide shut, creating the locked room mystery. There's still one thing I don't understand, Miss Pavlova. What? Well, you said that you told Kazuma about the fact that you'd run away from your homeland, and it's because you were worried he was going to tell the captain that you pushed him. Isn't that right? Yes, but even if he had pulled the bell cord and called for the captain of the ship, aren't you friends with every member of the crew? Exactly. That's what I mentioned a few minutes ago. Why would that have been a problem? It was what he said first that made me scared. What he said first. What are you doing here at this time of night, Inspector? Oh yeah, because he thought it was Hosonaga. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought it was a friend of mine. He said an inspector was his friend. Ah, yes, meaning me, who was supposed to be acting as his bodyguard. I thought that if police knew about me, they would arrest me. So before he could pull the bell cord, May I stop you a moment, please, Miss Pavlova? It just doesn't seem to make sense. I mean, was Mr. Osogi really going to pull the bell cord? I don't know. What? What do you think, Mr. Naruhodo? I mean, he said he was going to get a second opinion. I could see how you might think that to be the bell cord, but he probably meant me, because I was in the wardrobe, you know? Well, I'm not Kazuma, so I can't know for certain, but he was a man of his word. If he told you he wouldn't give your secret, Ray, then he wouldn't have done. No! He was walking over to it! He was going to pull the cord! He was going to make them send me back. Well, Mr. Naruhodo? The day's work is not yet done, it seems. There is one more deduction to make. What? Another deduction? Yes. What action was the victim really about to take at that moment? Ooh, I like that theme. Cosmo, yeah, Cosmo, is that Cosmo's theme or is that a different theme? I don't remember. Either way, I like it. I'm pretty sure his was more forceful. Unless it's supposed to be like a remix or something. I don't know. Can we determine whither the young man's gaze was directed? First, consider the victim's location within his cabin. That's easy. I remember every detail of that room. I mean, yes, I spent quite a lot of time in the wardrobe, but still. That cabin has been my home for this entire voyage. So this is how the cabin looked last night, when Miss Pavlova visited Kazuma-sama. Yes, it's exactly how it was. Are you ready then, Mr. Naruhodo? Yes. If there's one thing I've learnt today, it's that a simple gaze can reveal all manner of truths. And not only that, in order to draw the right conclusion, you can't afford to be out by even a little bit when you're following the gaze to where it lands. Excuse me, how are you guys seeing his gaze in the past? It's not like Nicolina took a photo of that shit, I imagine. So how are we following his gaze? Because before we were actively looking at the people that we were trying to observe, you know? So when he turned away from Miss Pavlova, what exactly was Kazuma looking at? Bed. Bell cord. Yeah, it's me. It's a wardrobe, I believe. So, wait a minute. His bed. I remember him being annoyed about the pillow. He said it was too thin. Didn't he put that big, thick book of Japanese law underneath it, in fact? Perhaps he was thinking of looking something up. Either that, or talking to Miss Pavlova had made him acutely tired. Oh, look at that, I got a trophy. See, it's good to observe things, random things. The bell cord. So Miss Pavlova thought he was just coldly ignoring her request, and going to pull the cord. But the Kazuma I know would never have done something like that. No, I'm sure of it. The wardrobe. My wardrobe. I was in there at the time, of course. Sleeping soundly. Too soundly, in fact. If only I hadn't eaten that chicken that was laced with a sleeping drug. If only he'd woken me up. And maybe this tragedy would never have happened. God dang it. See, once again, I find myself running a little bit long. Like, I have a few minutes left, but I don't think I'm going to get to the whole end of this case without having to cut, so... Before I start the last final, or before I finish the last deduction, we'll have to save it for the next episode. Again, sorry about this. I really need to either play faster or, I don't know, find better points to end. I don't fucking know. But anyway, until next time.